A New Mexico officer who held a family at gunpoint and was under investigation for a domestic violence case has been arrested and fired. Tonight on Rational Lunatic Television, coming to you as always from Rational Lunatic himself. Before we get started real quick, if this video happens to go past 10 minutes and you are on TikTok, jump over to YouTube where you can catch the full content there. I also have my Patreon up and running. You can catch all my content there as well, except you can also, for members only, you can get not safe for life content. It's stuff you kind of have to want to know, and I think you should want to know, but it's stuff that you might want to have a little bit of a stomach for, because it's still about corrupt cops, corrupt judges, corrupt officials, but they're just doing way worse things in those stories. But anyway, real quick before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop a new video. And let's get into this one, shall we? This report is coming from KRQE News 13, read to you, of course, by yours truly. A New Mexico police officer has been arrested for battery and fired from the department. Alright. Bernalillo, New Mexico. A police officer at the center of an intense traffic stop over a family pet found himself on the other side of the law. KRQE investigates obtained the police video from the latest case that landed the now former officer in even more hot water. Rio Rancho Police video from November 15th, 2023 shows officers responding to a home after a neighbor called police. Quote, "I've asked him to leave. I've asked him to let go of me, and he wouldn't," the woman told officers. Quote, "He wouldn't leave." The woman told officers she and her boyfriend, Jeremy Navarez, were arguing when he got physical and refused to leave her house. Quote, "During that moment when he was holding you, did you feel that you were not free to leave?" an officer asked the woman. "Correct. Yes, I could not leave. He is stronger than me. I could not leave," she replied. The Rio Rancho officers went inside to get Navarez's story. Quote, "A supervisor is on the way just because he is a police officer," one of the officers told the woman. Navarez was an officer with Bernalillo Police in the town of Bernalillo. At the same time, he was also the officer in another investigation from September. Police lapel video from that traffic stop shows Navarez pulling over a family for speeding and holding them at gunpoint. Video shows Navarez ignoring family members pleading with him, quote, "My dog's about to die." The family's dog had been hit by a car, and they were rushing to get her to an emergency vet. Quote, "Sir, my dog's bleeding out of its mouth," William Albrecht told Navarez, who had placed him in handcuffs. Quote, "I don't give a F," Navarez replied. The family's dog, Stella, didn't make it. The Albrecht family couldn't believe how Navarez treated them during the stop. Quote, "No one came at him. No one threatened him," Albrecht told KRQE News 13. Quote, "And again, like, what did he see that scared him so bad? I mean, this guy was angry." Months after the traffic stop, Navarez admitted to the Rio Rancho officers, who were now questioning him, that things were tense between him and the woman. Quote, "I tried hugging her," Navarez told the officers. "That didn't pan out. She said it hurt her back. I let her go." But the woman claims Navarez wouldn't let her go at first, and insists Navarez wouldn't leave her home. Quote, so on both occasions, she told you no, so why would you continue to try and hold her? A Rio Rancho officer asked Navarez. Quote, yeah, just trying to, I guess, just make it work at some point, Navarez replied. That's when one of the officers noticed a Ring doorbell camera in the living room and asked to see the footage. Quote, get your hands off me, now, the woman is heard shouting at Navarez as the video shows him holding his arms around her. She continues, get your hands off of me. I said get your hands off. The motion sensing surveillance camera only captures a portion of the struggle, but the video along with interviews officers conducted on the scene were enough in the end for Rio Rancho police to place Navarez under arrest for misdemeanor battery. Court records show the day after his arrest, the woman filed a restraining order against Navarez. She wrote Navarez is, quote, threatening, and noted his access to firearms. After KRQE's investigation into the traffic stop handled by Navarez, administrators with Bernalillo Police and the town of Bernalillo wouldn't say if he was facing any discipline at the time, only that he was placed on administrative leave after the battery arrest. Then, just last week, the town clerk confirmed the Bernalillo Police Department terminated Navarez in December. KRQE News 13 tried to reach Navarez and his attorney for his side of the story, but have not heard back by airtime. The battery case against Navarez is still pending. His next hearing is scheduled for next week. KRQE News 13 also asked if there have been any actions taken against his law enforcement certification. Records show there was a complaint filed against Navarez with the Law Enforcement Academy. However, the Department of Public Safety would not reveal why the complaint was filed. And yeah, so I remember this story. I did it a few weeks ago, but there's more information now. At the same time, that video didn't get a whole lot of play. So now that I'm starting to get a little bit of traction, I'm hoping that this one will get play. I think it's a good story. I think it's one that needs to be heard. It's just, obviously another story about an entitled cop who, the audacity to hold a family at gunpoint when he can see their dog bleeding from the mouth and they're pleading with him and begging him to help them get the dog to a vet, and instead of helping them get their dog to an emergency vet, he holds them at gunpoint and then puts them in handcuffs. So apparently them speeding, I don't know how fast they were going. I'm sure it wasn't too slow. I'm sure they were probably going pretty fast. I would be speeding if I was trying to save my dog. I know that for a fact. But why would he get so mad? Like, I understand if they're speeding quite over the speed limit, and he pulls them over and they have no emergency. I've seen cops get angry at people for speeding, you know what I'm saying? But I would imagine that any cop, no matter how angry they were, as soon as they see an emergency like that and realize what's going on, they would most likely ease up, you would think, and they'd be like, oh, now I know why you're speeding, and let's get that dog to a vet. And there's been cases like that where people have been speeding to the hospital, like with their sick grandmother or their pregnant wife, and there have been cops that have pulled them over angry, and instead of helping them, they may have called an ambulance, but instead of helping them get there quicker, I've seen cases and heard stories where those cops have arrested those people that were speeding because they were tripping out, like, hey, I gotta get my family member to the hospital, I need your help, like, why are you pulling me over, I gotta get to the hospital, and the cop's like, you need to listen to me, and listen, it's happened, rare, but it has happened, and it's just sad. I think there should be disciplinary action. I think since they took an oath to protect and serve, and to help the community, if they come across something like that, and they arrest that person instead of helping with the emergency, helping it move along, and someone dies or gets seriously hurt, or gets affected, so it affects them in a way where it messes up their life or their physical health for a long time, there should be criminal charges or some sort of discipline, I think. But that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you made it to the end of the video, oops, that's bouncing. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for being here. I love each and every one of you. Again, this video did not, it's just passing 10 minutes. So, too late to tell you now. But if you're on YouTube, thank you so much. If you're on TikTok, thank you so much. If you want my Not Safe for Life content and you want to know about some real heinous cops and judges doing some really heinous things, I think it needs to be exposed. So that's on my members only. It's $5 a month. So if you want to go there and help support the channel, I would be so grateful. But it's not required. I am already extremely grateful that you're just here right now with me, right here, right now. Thank you so much. Again, you guys have a good one. I hope you're doing better than this dude. And until the next time, y'all, stay wild.